Your grandfather's pickup was a tool. Yours is becoming a platform. 250,000 miles. A bench seat and a wrench were all you needed. Now the average new truck costs $65,000, runs on over 200 electronic modules, and can be bricked by a server outage. They still sell you the image of rugged independence, but the ownership bargain underneath has quietly reversed, with more power, more technology, and more ways you cannot fix it yourself. So how did the most practical vehicle in America become one of the most expensive things you will never fully own? There was a time when a pickup was less a product and more a promise. Ask anyone who's kept an old F-150 running past 300,000 miles, and you will hear the same story. The truck was a tool, not a luxury good. It was something you could fix on a Saturday with a socket set and a little patience. Ownership meant control, and the only thing standing between you and another 100,000 miles was your willingness to turn a wrench. Today, that relationship feels distant. The modern pickup is shaped by a different set of forces: designers, marketers, software engineers, and finance departments. The image is still about toughness, freedom, and the open road, but the experience underneath is anything but simple. The more the pickup became a status symbol, the less it behaved like a tool. Now, the truck in your driveway might have more in common with your phone or your laptop than with the old workhorse you grew up with. It runs on code, not just gasoline. Features arrive and disappear with the tap of a screen or the end of a subscription. You bought the truck, but you may only be renting parts of the experience. For longtime owners, this is not just nostalgia, it is a loss of real independence. The engine may be built for work, but the after-treatment system can decide whether the truck is allowed to work. The truck may be in your driveway, but the useful diagnostic information may still belong to someone else. What once was a straightforward deal, buy the truck, own the truck, fix the truck, has become a layered contract filled with passwords, service agreements, and fine print. This is not about resisting progress. It is about asking who benefits when the tools we rely on become platforms we cannot fully control. Sticker shock has become a fact of life for anyone shopping for a full-size pickup. In 2024, the average transaction price for a new truck sits at $65,000. That number is not reserved for luxury trims. It is the middle of the road. For many small business owners, contractors, and farmers, the truck is still a tool of the trade, but the price now rivals a starter home in some parts of the country. Financing has stretched to fill the gap. Loans that once ran 4 or 5 years now routinely extend to 84, even 96 months. Monthly payments of $900 or more are common, turning a work truck into a long-term debt anchor. The pitch from the dealer often sounds reassuring, promising buyers they can have the truck they want for less per month. But the reality is that by the time the truck is paid off, the warranty is long gone, and the technology inside may already be obsolete. A small business owner in Ohio described walking into a dealership looking for a basic work truck, only to be shown a model with upgraded tech and safety features. The final price was over $90,000, financed for 8 years. He called it an investment in his company's image, but the payments cut into his cash flow every month. This is not just about rising material costs or inflation. The structure of the deal has changed. Extended loans keep buyers upside down on their trucks for years, owing more than the vehicle is worth, with little equity to show for it. For owners who rely on their truck to make a living, a breakdown or a job lost to downtime can mean falling behind on payments. In this new reality, the promise of ownership is replaced by a cycle of payments, upgrades, and trade-ins, where the true cost of a pickup extends far beyond the sticker on the window. Walk into a dealership today, and the pitch rarely starts with payload or axle ratios. Instead, it is about luxury: heated and ventilated seats with massage modes, panoramic sunroofs, 12-inch touchscreens, power retractable running boards, and a surround view camera system that rivals high-end sedans. The conversation shifts quickly from work to comfort, from durability to lifestyle. Sales staff are trained to guide buyers up the trim ladder, moving from the basic XL or WT to XLT, LTZ, Platinum, High Country, or Limited. Each step adds leather, adaptive suspension, wireless charging, and a suite of safety tech. The phrase "most customers choose the tech package" is less a suggestion than a script, nudging buyers toward the highest margin trims. On paper, these trucks promise the best of both worlds, all the muscle of a work vehicle, wrapped in the comfort and flash of a luxury car. But every added feature is another point of failure. Power running boards rely on motors and sensors that seize up in winter. Massaging seats use air bladders and electronics that can short out. The panoramic roof brings in sunlight but also leaks, wind noise, and a $2,000 repair if the mechanism fails. Even the tailgate is no longer just a piece of stamped steel. It might include built-in steps, speakers, or a remote release system, all controlled by a module that can disable the whole assembly if it loses connection. Dealers lean into this complexity. Aftermarket add-ons, spray-in bed liners, chrome packages, tow bars are presented as essential, often bundled with financing that stretches the cost across 7 or 8 years. The upsell is not just about features, it is about locking the buyer into a product that looks tough but hides fragility under the surface. The more the pickup became a status symbol, the less it behaved like a tool. Underneath the leather and LEDs, the ownership bargain has shifted. You can have the image of independence, but the reality is a truck that demands more money, more service, and more trust in systems you cannot see or fix yourself. A full-size pickup today is a rolling network, not just steel and pistons. Hidden behind every panel, more than 200 electronic modules, each a tiny computer, communicate constantly over a CAN bus that snakes from bumper to bumper. These modules monitor everything: oil pressure, turbo boost, exhaust temperature, seat position, even the angle of the tailgate. If a sensor drifts or a handshake fails, the truck can throw a code, cut power, or refuse to start until the right tool resets it. For independent mechanics, this is the new reality. In Kansas, a diesel specialist calls the 2024 F-250 a software platform on wheels. Diagnosing a rough idle or a stubborn check engine light now starts with a laptop, not a wrench. The scan tool has to speak the truck's digital language, reading encrypted codes and checking firmware versions. Sometimes even a simple battery swap or fuel filter change demands a software reset so the truck knows what has been touched. The shift isn't about longing for the past. Technology brings real benefits: stronger engines, better mileage, cleaner emissions. But each new feature adds another layer of code, another point where things can go wrong. When a 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 or a PowerBoost hybrid slips into limp mode, it is often because a sensor in the emission system or a transmission module has flagged a value the software rejects. The engine may be built for work, but the aftertreatment system can decide if it is allowed to work at all. As powertrains become more software-driven, owners depend more on dealer diagnostics. The promise of toughness and independence still echoes in the ads, but the reality is a machine that's only as reliable as its latest update. In the next bay, a mechanic scrolls through service bulletins and module updates, knowing a single misbehaving sensor can turn a 6-figure truck into a stranded asset overnight. Diesel pickups promised unstoppable torque and long-haul durability, but the path to cleaner air has rewritten what it means to own one. In 2007, federal rules made diesel particulate filters mandatory on heavy-duty trucks. 3 years later, selective catalytic reduction arrived, bringing diesel exhaust fluid called DEF and another layer of sensors, tanks, and software. These systems work. DPF systems remove more than 99% of soot, and SCR cuts nitrogen oxides by about 90%. The air is cleaner, and that matters. But for owners, especially those who run trucks hard and far from town, the trade-offs are real and immediate. A farmer in Nebraska described watching his 2021 Super Duty slow to a crawl in the middle of harvest. The diesel exhaust fluid tank had run dry, and the truck's computer locked the engine into limp mode, 30% power, barely enough to pull an empty trailer. The nearest dealer with the right diagnostic tool was 60 miles away. The lost day cost him a contract and a week's worth of trust in the machine he thought he owned. Service is not cheap. A full DPF replacement can cost $3,000 to $4,500. Even a routine cleaning runs $200 to $400, and it is not optional. Skip a regeneration cycle, and the filter clogs, triggering warning lights and shutdowns. DEF itself adds up too. A typical truck burns through 2 to 3 liters per 1,000 miles at nearly $3 per liter. SCR catalyst failures bring another bill, often $1,800 or more after 150,000 miles. Every new component is another reason for a check engine light, another reason to call the dealer, another day the truck sits idle. This is not an argument against clean air. It is a question of who pays for the progress and how much control the owner has left. The engine may be built for work, but the after-treatment system can decide whether the truck is allowed to work at all. What used to be a straightforward tool is now a machine with recurring obligations, filters, fluids, and software resets that do not care if you are on the clock or out in the field. A recall notice arrives in the mail. Your truck, the one you bought for its 10-speed automatic, and the promise of modern engineering, is now part of a 1.2 million vehicle recall. The problem is not a worn clutch or a leaking pan. It is a software bug buried deep inside the transmission control module, a glitch that can trigger a sudden downshift even at highway speed. The fix is not a part to swap, but a dealer-installed software patch. Until that update is done, the truck sits idle. For tradespeople and small business owners, every day off the road is money lost. According to NHTSA data, the average downtime for the 10-speed recall runs about 3.5 days. That is not just an inconvenience, it is 3 or 4 jobs missed, contracts lost, or a crew left waiting. One electrician in Indiana calculated the cost. A $1,700 job slipped away because his F-150 was locked in the shop, waiting for a slot in the dealer's service bay. He called it the most expensive update I have ever had to wait for. This is not about resisting progress or blaming software itself. The technology brings real benefits: smoother shifting, better mileage, more towing capacity. But when the fix for a critical failure is locked behind a dealer's firewall, ownership starts to look more like a lease on functionality than real control. Independent shops, even those with decades of experience, are often left out. Without the right digital handshake, they cannot apply the patch or clear the codes. The truck may be in your driveway, but the tools to keep it working are locked in someone else's toolbox. The story repeats itself. A sensor trips, a module flags a fault, and suddenly the work truck is a digital hostage. For owners who depend on their trucks to earn a living, downtime is not just a nuisance, it is a direct threat to their independence. The more the pickup became a status symbol, the less it behaved like a tool. Software-driven recalls turn a tough, capable machine into a fragile platform, and the costs, measured in lost work and lost trust, land on the person who thought they were buying the freedom to get the job done. At a small diesel repair shop in Worcester, Massachusetts, the owner unlocks the bay door before sunrise. There is a 2021 F-150 Power Boost on the lift, a truck that should be a routine job. Instead, the day starts with a dead end. The shop's scan tool can read only basic codes. For the real answers, why the after-treatment system locked the truck into limp mode, why the remote start will not sync, why the dashboard throws a security alert, he needs a session key from the manufacturer. That means logging into a portal, entering a VIN, and paying for access. The bill for the year is between $2,500 and $5,000 just to use the factory diagnostics software. Some modules, like the one controlling the tailgate or the advanced driver assist, still will not open, no matter how much he pays. Massachusetts law says he should have open access. In 2020, voters passed a data access law that requires automakers to share diagnostic and repair data with independent shops. But in practice, the software gatekeepers still hold the keys. The law forced some progress. Engine and transmission codes are now available for most models, but the full picture stays locked behind paywalls and proprietary adapters. An advocate for right to repair describes it as a partial victory. You can fix the basics, but the rest of the truck is still off limits. For every independent mechanic, every small business trying to keep trucks on the road, the message is clear. The truck may be in your driveway, but the useful diagnostic information may still belong to someone else. A decade ago, if you paid extra for a feature on your truck, you owned it. Now, the deal has changed. Many of the most useful features, remote start, navigation, vehicle health reports, are locked behind monthly or yearly subscriptions. The numbers add up fast. Over a 10-year span, an owner who keeps up with the standard suite of connected services pays about $4,500 just for access to things the hardware can already do. That is on top of the truck payment, insurance, and repairs. For some, the cost is more than just a line item, it is a source of frustration. In January 2024, a cloud outage knocked out Ford's remote start service for more than 12,000 owners in the Midwest. One Nebraska farmer who relied on remote start to preheat his truck before sunrise lost that ability for 3 days. He burned through extra fuel idling the engine to warm up, and the downtime cost him both time and money. The hardware was sitting in his driveway, but the feature he had paid for was out of reach until the servers came back online. These subscriptions are not about luxury, they are about basic utility. The promise of toughness and independence is now a recurring bill. The more the pickup becomes a platform for paid features, the more the owner is left managing a stack of charges and waiting for someone else's system to work. For anyone who plans to keep a truck past the first loan, these ongoing costs are now a core part of the ownership bargain. Long-term ownership starts before you sign the papers. If you want a truck that is still yours after the warranty is gone, here are 9 rules that owners and mechanics keep coming back to. First, match your truck to your real work. Do not buy more towing or payload than you will use. Second, pick engines and transmissions that have been on the market for a few years, with a record for reliability and a supply of affordable parts. Third, skip the luxury packages unless they pay you back in actual use. Every extra feature is another thing to break. Fourth, keep the loan short and the down payment high. Stretching payments over 7 or 8 years leaves you upside down and out of options. Fifth, only go diesel if you run heavy loads and rack up serious miles. Otherwise, the emission systems are more trouble than they are worth. Sixth, check that local independent shops can get the diagnostic tools and information for the truck you are considering. Seventh, add up the cost of all the subscriptions you will need to keep the features you want. Eighth, make sure the emissions hardware is covered by a long warranty, not just the basic powertrain. Ninth, look up recall history and make sure all fixes are done before you buy. The real test is not how the truck feels on day one, it is whether you are still the owner, not just the bill payer, 10 years down the road. Today, the more the pickup became a status symbol, the less it behaved like a tool. The engine may be built for work, but the after-treatment system can decide whether the truck is allowed to work. You bought the truck, but you may only be renting parts of the experience. Buy for the second decade, not just the first test drive. What matters now is who truly owns the truck in your driveway. If you're tired of products that fail before they should, subscribe. This channel is about exposing the design choices that made everything worse and finding what's still worth buying.